No way. You got it? Oh, thank you.
Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks since my last video. Life has kind of gotten in the way, but I hope that this video will make up for it, as I'm going to be sharing not one, not two, but 3 different dresses. During the hot summer months, I live in easy care, easy to wear cotton frocks. A lot of people would refer to these style of dresses as housewife dresses. And I have been wanting to make a few new dresses. Usually I have 3 or 4 in constant rotation, and they're starting to show their age a little bit. And because I will run to the market or do other simple errands while wearing these dresses, you know, I wanted something that wasn't quite so faded and worn. And much has been talked about the Walkaway dress. And if you go to YouTube, oh my goodness, there is probably at least 25 different videos about this dress that they say you can make in 3 hours. I find that a little bit hard to believe. You know, what are the details on that? Do you have to wash the fabric and cut out your pattern before that clock starts? You know, because just doing those things of washing the fabric, ironing it, and cutting it out, bare minimum, that's an hour right there. So I'm thinking it's just the sewing time. And then that got me to thinking, other than this Walkaway dress, were there any other type of similarly styled patterns that have a wrap design? And by wrap design, what I mean by that, and this, let me talk about this pattern. This is another wrap pattern. This is Butterick 6212, and in my experiment, this was one of the first wrap dresses that I made. And you basically untie the back, and then the front underneath is also secured either by buttons or snaps, and so it's just very adjustable, easy to put on. I loved this pattern. It is so cute. I wouldn't say that it took 3 hours. There's actually a lot of hand sewing to create this yoke, and I'll flip the dress inside out so you can see what I am talking about. The other thing I will mention is normally I'm about a size 12 on top, 14 to 16 on the bottom. So I cut this pattern out in a 12. The next time I make this dress, I'm definitely gonna size down. I could have benefited from making a toile or a muslin mock-up, but in the essence of time, I didn't do it. And because this is a house dress, I'm not all that concerned about fit, so it's fine. I won't be adjusting it at all. But when I make it in the future, because it is so cute on, I definitely will size down. And at the end of the video, of course, you'll see me wearing this dress. Now, we're going to be talking about this dress. This dress is a problem child. I thought perhaps that Vogue would have a little bit better of a fit, because this wrap dress, the interesting thing about it is it has pattern pieces for A, B, C, D, bust. So, you know, whatever like a 14B cup or a 14C cup. So I cut a 12B. It is huge, or there's a fit issue that maybe I don't know how to resolve. It's very pointy. Now, granted, I have this on what is in essence my husband's mannequin, so it's not doing it any favors. And in the 1950s, this pattern is a 1953 design. The pointed or bullet silhouette was very popular. So just be prepared for that. But even so, ooh, this dress has a button on each side, and that's it for keeping it closed. That makes me really, really nervous. And I think the best thing to do is maybe try it on so you can see what I'm talking about. I wanted to love this pattern, but I don't know if there's any hope for it. So we'll be talking about that in this video. I'm going to be doing a few additions, alterations, and if that doesn't work, I love the fabric so much, I'll just cut a different bodice, because the skirt is actually very flattering. And then I decided that I had to make the original. And it's like 50-50. People either love it or they hate it. A few people have mentioned that they do feel it looks like an apron, which this definitely reminds me of an apron. So for the research, I have to make it. So I'm gonna cut it out tonight, and I'm gonna start tomorrow morning. The whole preface of the walkaway dress is that you start it right after breakfast and then can walk away to lunch wearing the dress. So it's kind of like, is after breakfast 9 a.m. and lunch is at noon? Or is breakfast 6 a.m.? So this dress uses quite a bit of fabric for my size. I need 4 3/8 of yard, and then 3 packages of bias tape. I'm kind of excited, mainly because this fabric, look at this fabric. It is so cute. And a lot of people use contrast binding. And what I mean by contrast binding is this. I opted to use contrast binding, meaning it doesn't blend in, it stands out. So in addition to that, you can also use the type of binding that you hide it on the inside. And that's what I did with this dress. So when I turn the dresses inside out, you'll kind of see what I mean. But on this, because people mentioned that it looked so much like an apron, my thought was, when I was looking at other people's makes, was that high contrast, meaning if I chose like a solid red or a solid green, it would really stand out that the lines are reminiscent of an apron. So if I chose something that blended in with the fabric, would it look more like a dress? So there's a lot going on in this video, and I think we better just get started. Right out of the starting gate, we have a problem with the fabric, which is all on me. It has nothing to do with the pattern. Now, I knew this was a directional fabric, meaning that the design goes one way. However, even though I bought more fabric based on having a directional fabric. I didn't think about the width issue. So learn from my mistake and buy a fabric that if it has a print, it doesn't matter. Kind of like the purple wrap dress that I also showed in this video. So this wonderful fabric will be a very different type of dress, and I will have to find something else to make the walkaway dress out of. Of the three dresses, this dress uses the least amount of bias trim, and that's just around the armhole and bodice area. It does have a facing. The illustration shows more of a deeper sweetheart neckline. I could probably achieve that with a stitching adjustment, but again, you know, I'm just wearing this around the house. And this on the interior, you can see the shaping is achieved at the front of the bodice with a dart on the side and then a dart at the waist. And that, of course, is on each side. And then this center detail at the midriff. I love that the seam is all enclosed, but it does require one side of it being hand stitched. And then you have to tack down your facing. And then if you're hand stitching your hem, that's a lot of hand stitching. Now, again, because this is just something to wear around the house, my hem, I did it on the machine. Turning it around, the back is more of a sheath silhouette, and it's just 2 darts at the waist that you achieve the shape. And then once you tie the back tie, it adds that full skirted look. But the underneath skirt is very much a sheath style until you wrap it around. And these are what are often referred to as a kimono sleeve. It doesn't come down very far, you know, just right over the shoulder. But it's a great little dress. I really liked this pattern. This is a close-up so I can show you some of the details. Now this dress only fastens with these 2 buttons. For modesty purposes, I do have a camisole and full petticoats. So if a big wind comes up, this is gonna fly up, or that's gonna fly up, because there's just probably maybe about 1.5 inches to 2 inches that it overlaps. And then there's a definite wardrobe malfunction going on here. Yes, you could absolutely wear a pretty bralette or a tank top underneath it, but you know, that is, it's just kind of a gapey mess. Now, if I added 2 snaps right at the top, then that has a better fit and flare silhouette. So I think I might try that. And then maybe a fabric belt. This just sort of feels not flattering on my body type. Plus, by adding a belt, you would secure the dress staying closed at the waist if your button, happened to come undone, which that's a possibility. The other thing that I'm thinking about is maybe starting right here, I just stitch in the ditch right along where that bias is so that I would still be able to get the dress on and off much more easily, but then I don't have to worry about, wind coming and whipping things apart. Now I haven't hemmed the dress because of course I'm still messing with it. So stitching down the sides, and you can see I've pinned this side, so there's still a nice swish even if we top stitch that. So top stitching the sides of the skirt, adding 2 snaps right underneath the armpits, and then maybe a belt. Would that make this a little bit more wearer friendly? We'll see. I went ahead and I added a snap right here on each side, and that did bring the fabric closer to my body. The dress also feels a little bit more secure, and I added a self fabric belt that just kind of breaks it up, also defines the waist a little bit. Overall, I think it is still a bit frumpy. That's okay for a house dress, which this basically is. I also did sew down each of the side seams. Now it's open right here, and then with the button I can still get it on and off relatively easy. And then I made myself a little hat. When I do go outside in the summertime, it is usually around 110 degrees. I tend to burn quite easily. This little hat was in a free bin at an estate sale, and the reason why is there was a huge gaping hole right here. So I patched it with a big velvet leaf on both sides, and then I just added some vintage as well as new floral. I needed a certain purple, so, and then the remainder of the bias tape that I had, I just stitched it onto some purple ribbons. So I'll show you that in the reveal, but not bad for a free hat. So let's get to the reveal. This is the sweetest little boy. Oh yes, look at that face. Yes, thank you for the kisses. I have to say I've petted a lot of dogs in my day. Pony has, it's just like stroking velvet. He's a long-haired dachshund, in case you didn't know what type of breed he was. Oh, but it's just wonderful, isn't it? Yes, he's the best boy ever. Such a little sweetheart. Such a good boy.